Subscribe to the channel and comment down below saying I subscribe to enter this month's shout out giveaway. The story of Rich Dad, Poor Dad is really a story of two different fathers with two different sets of values and completely different sets of advice. So I don't mean to insult anybody or damage your values. Really, that was the difference. For example, my poor dad always said go to school and get good grades, get a high paying job, work hard, live below your means, save money, get out of debts, have a good retirement plan. Now that was my poor dad's values. My rich dad said you probably won't get rich doing that way because very few people get rich following that plan. Robert Kiyosaki said, when I was 9 years old, I went up to my father. My father, strange for Japanese, was 6 foot 4 inches, 220 pounds, a very large man. I am the smallest man in all of my family. Robert Kiyosaki went up to his dad and said, Dad, I finally figured out what I want to do for the rest of my life and what I want to be. I said, I want to be rich. He said, okay. I said, Dad, how do I become rich? And he said, what the rich know how to do is they know how to make money. I said, good. Robert Kiyosaki continues his story. So, I ran off, I got my friend Michael. He was my first business partner at age 9. We were both in school together and we set out to make money. And our first business venture was, what we did was we ran around our neighborhood in Hawaii and we collected Crest toothpaste tubes back in the 1950s. In those days, Crest toothpaste tube was made out of lead. Michael and I ran around and collected all these toothpaste tubes, go to our neighbors, knock on their doors and say, would you mind saving your empty toothpaste tube for me? They said, sure. One day, my mother comes home, there was a box next to the washing machine full of these ugly looking toothpaste tubes. And she was wondering what Michael and I, my first business venture, were up to.
Person can understand it. That is extremely difficult because most people are brainwashed when it comes to money.
Robert Kiyosaki goes on telling his story. Robert Kiyosaki, good grades, counterfeiting money, US coins, plaster of Paris, and Crest toothpaste tubes. So one day my dad drives up with one of his school teacher friends and he found me out there with this fire going. Michael and I melting down these lead tubes. And dad and his friend come over and look at what we were doing and said, what are you doing? What are you boys doing here? And what we had done, we taken a plaster of Paris and we had put a US coins there. So we were pouring and popping out half dollars, quarters made out of lead. My father said, what are you doing? I said, doing what you told us. We're making money, smiley face, and his friend started laughing. He said, leave the boy alone. You might have a talent here. So I found out at a very early age what the words counterfeiting money meant, and so I was very confused. Robert Kiyosaki said to his father, Dad, I still want to be a rich man. How I make money? My dad looked at me and he said, there are 2 reasons. Don't ask me. Number 1, I'm a school teacher, and school teachers don't know how to make money. Number 2, I'm Japanese. Japanese don't know how to make money. He said, why don't you ask Michael's father? His father knows how to make money. He is Chinese. So Michael and I ran off and went to see his dad. And his dad was Chinese and he began to teach Michael and me the art of making money. Robert Kiyosaki and his wife Kim Kiyosaki, my rich dad, buy and sell companies. So as I grew older, it got really difficult in my family because my dad, being a school teacher, would say, be good, study hard. And I'd say, why? He would say, so you can get good grades. And I would say, why? So you can find a good job. I'd say, okay, why? And he'd say, so you can find a good company to work for. And then I would go across the town and talk to Michael's dad, and he would say to me was, you don't want a company to work for, you want to study hard to find out how to buy a company and sell it.
And that'll spread poverty even greater, which will cause a greater gap between the rich and everybody else.
Robert Kiyosaki explains, and it really caused a conflict in me. If you can imagine me being 17 years old sitting in high school, it was true. I flunked out twice. Not just once, but twice because I was bored. And every time the teacher would try and threaten me and say, you're not applying yourself, you don't have good grades, blah, 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 I'd say, what for? She'd say, so you get a good job. I'd say, I don't need a good job because I'm going to buy and sell companies, smiley face. She'd say, well, company would never hire someone like you. I'd say, good, that might be a good company to buy, smiley face. She'd say, well, I would never work for a man like you. And I'd say, don't worry, we wouldn't hire you anyway, smiley face. I had a different educational background and it was tough. Like I said, with my 2 dads. Now the reason I bring this up is how many people realize that America is in a fairly big financial crisis right now.
And then you pay taxes after taxes. So I have all this debt and I get rich.
This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any of our videos in the future. Also, watch the 2 videos that are on your screen because I'm sure you'll love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video.